What's up, everybody? Welcome to SLC Puck. I'm your host, Austin Facer. Welcome to another exciting, high-adventure, high-octane, high-energy episode of SLC Puck, your Utah hockey podcast, with a bit of fun, with a bit of spice. That's sort of how we do the podcast here at SLC Puck. I've been doing 56 episodes. This is number 56, Kyler Yamamoto's number. Hopefully we'll see him back up with the Utah Hockey Club soon. Maybe we won't. He's with Tucson right now. But in his honor, we're going to put together a really scrappy episode and do our best, just like he did in the preseason to earn a spot with the Utah Hockey Club. But hey, we're here. It's November 10th. And I got to tell you, I am like kind of in recovery mode right now because yesterday, November 9th, I got my butt kicked in a multitude of ways, emotionally, as a sports fan and as a hockey podcast guy. I started my day going on a fun little episode of the Clean Hits podcast, where it was kind of like a fun little game show thing that the fellas down there put together. And by the way, I'm wearing one of Clean Hit Hockey's cool Cult of GMBA shirts. If you've been watching the show for a while, you know that I'm a huge fan of GMBA, General Manager Bill Armstrong. So when the boys put together this shirt, and I'll show the back too. The back's really cool. Did you see it? It's a cool shirt, so go ahead and pick one of those up. But anyway, Clean Hit guys put together a little game show that, and they're not going to release it until Monday, until tomorrow. But I'll just spoil the surprise for you. I did not win. I got my butt kicked. It was hockey history. It was very deep cuts on hockey history and the Arizona Coyotes. That's not my wheelhouse. The other categories I think I hung in there pretty good on, and so I'm proud of my performance. Well, it wasn't horrible, but I did bring up the rear. You can check that out though. Make sure you see that. It's a lot of fun. And then the day proceeded with another butt kicking. Watching the Utah Hockey Club take a pounding against the Nashville Predators, where they lost 4-0 to finish up a 4-game roadie. I would say the road trip was okay. They got 3 out of a possible 8 points. I think had they gotten one more win, either against Winnipeg or Nashville, or maybe even one against the Golden Knights, that would have been something. But just to recap the 4-game roadie, the Utah Hockey Club lost in overtime to the Vegas Golden Knights, and then lost to the Winnipeg Jets, who are off to a historically hot start here in the NHL early on. But the Utah Hockey Club kind of was in the middle of the path. They got steamrolled. There was nowhere to hide. There was nowhere to run. The Winnipeg Jets had their way with them, beat them 3-0. After that, Utah responded really well with the 4-2 victory over the Nashville Blues. Because they lose, the Blues. You get it? You get it. And then they lost last night to the Nashville Predators. And then, hey, why not? What's 2 losses, right? What's 2 L's? Why not take one more? And me, as a University of Utah football fan, woo! That was a doozy last night. The 22-21 loss to the BYU Cougars, the team down south. We love our Cougar lovers who follow the show, so congrats to them. That's all I'm going to say about that. That was rough. That was a tough one for sure. But anyway, hey, we're back at it. Let's get back to hockey here. Just real quick, again, SLC Puck. I'm Austin Facer. Thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you want to support the show, and I know you do, a great way you can do that is go to slcpuck.shop, get some cool merch, a beanie, a hat, some pieces of flair, some sweatshirts. They're all kind of priced at cost, so you can buy them and then make a donation when you're checking out. I really appreciate that. I'll send you a video thank you when you do that. All right, that's me thanking you for keeping this thing afloat, because December's coming up. We're gonna have fun costumes again. We got to get the costume budget up and rolling once more. We splurged on some props today for today's show, and I'm really excited to get into this. We're talking, as I said, on November 10th, and if you've been following the calendar, you know that we're exactly 1 month and change, actually, so not exactly, but more than 1 month into the Utah Hockey Club's inaugural season. They played their first game against the Chicago Blackhawks. You guys remember that. It was a 5-2 victory over Connor Bedard and the Blackhawks on October 8th. There was the indoor snow, which was the second indoor snow in Utah, I'll add. The first indoor snow was here at SLC Puck Studios. something I'm very proud of. But now we're over a month into the season, and I thought it would be a good time to just check in and maybe even give credit where credit is due, right? So just to sort of recap where we've been, kind of an up and down season so far, just a month in, but the Utah Hockey Club has been dealing with a multitude of injuries right now. As it stands at this moment, Utah's essentially at 500, you could say. 15 games into the season, they have a 6-6-3 record. 15 points in the standings puts them at 4th place in the Central Division, ahead of the Avalanche. It's kind of interesting. The Avalanche only have 14 points. They're tied with the Blues for 5th. Utah trails the Dallas Stars, who are the preseason media darlings. They have 16 points in the standings right now. But this is a tough month for Utah. I think getting some valuable points here in November is going to be crucial. And my good friend Trent from the Clean Hits podcast would say that 75% of teams that make the playoffs are in a standing to do so before Thanksgiving. I hope, again, I have said the stat before on the show, and I butchered it horrifically. I hope I said it somewhat in a way that makes sense there. So I know Trent's really good at watching the show, which I greatly appreciate. Trent's the man. So if you could correct me on that in the comments, Trent, that would be terrific. But here we are. Yeah, I think all things being considered, I think the Utah Hockey Club is in a pretty good place. You know, the injuries have been pretty devastating, or potentially devastating. They're finding ways to weather the storm. You know, injuries to Sean Dursey, that's huge. John Marino is yet to take the ice for the Utah Hockey Club as well. Probably won't see those guys for a couple of dog years, as I like to put it. But still, you know, to sit where they're at, to not be cellar dwellers at this point, and there are some teams who are cellar dwellers. One of which the Utah Hockey Club lost to in embarrassing fashion. Let's see here. The San Jose Sharks, you know, they're sitting at a 4-9-2 record. I would say I'm happy with where Utah Hockey Club is at right now. I think things could be better. Sure, there's a couple points they left on the board, as you know, in certain instances. But I think they're kind of considered, with the injuries being taken into consideration. I feel pretty good about it. So, you know, take that as a grain of salt. My friend Eric Jensen said this when he was on the show early in the shows when we were just getting started. Eric was like, you know, the fun thing is the season's going to change month by month, and I think we're really going to see that, especially as we get into the winter months, and then for the All-Star break, which this year is the 4 seasons or 4 seasons. Yeah, they're all going to go to the hotel. They're going to go to the 4 seasons and just chill for a week. Or maybe they're going to go to the 4 Seasons landscaping where Rudy Giuliani had his press conference back in 2020. That would be fun. But no, I meant the 4 Nations Challenge face-off thing. And I think we'll see a few members of the Utah Hockey Club representing Finland in that. So that'll be fun. We'll cover that when that happens. But again, it's a long season. We're moving through the calendars. But, you know, with a month full of great moments in the books, I think it's time to award some hardware, to give some guys the credit where credit is due. And again, I splurged today. I know you guys really appreciate the production value that we put into SLC Puck, and we spared no expense today. I bought 6 plastic little trophies from Walmart and wrote on them in gold Sharpie. And these are going to be the 1 month awards that'll be distributed to the deserving winners of such. And so I'm excited to give these out. And without further ado, I say we just hop right in and give some awards out. 1 month into the season, 1 month into NHL regular season hockey in Utah. And the awards are going to be fun. We're going to keep it very positive and happy because there's a lot to be positive and happy about. And our first award today of the evening, I wish I had Ricky Gervais or Jimmy Kimmel here to lead me off, but I'll have to sub in for them. I'll be the host of the award show, so to speak. The first award that I like to give out is for Best Fight, right? I think Best Fight would be a fun one to talk about, right? And I think we have a lot of deserving nominees. I'll just name a few. I went through and watched all the fights that the Utah Hockey Club has been involved in their short history. If you go to hockeyfights.com, they're all there. It's a great website. I definitely recommend checking it out. The nominees for Best Fight. There were 3 that really stood out to me. The first one that just due to recency bias, I really liked Maverick Lamoureux's fight against the Blues, against Pierre-Olivier Joseph. That was Mav Lam's first fight. It was right after he got his kneeing penalty, and the Blues player Joseph was standing up for his teammate and dropped the gloves and challenged Mav Lam. And I'll say this. I thought he did a great job standing up for himself. I think for like a 20-year-old guy, he did a tremendous job. He had great footing. He had incredible leverage. There was good fighting technique. You saw in the penalty box, he was wiping the blood off his knuckles. I'm like, that's cool. Good for him. He hung in there. You never forget your first, right? And Mav Lam's had a bunch of firsts this early going in the first month of the Utah Hockey Club. First goal, made his debut, first fight. That's a nominee. The other nominee was kind of like a little tiny line brawl against the New York Rangers, which was a great win, by the way, over the Rangers. I believe that was the one that Clayton Keller scored the overtime winner in over Igor Shesterkin. I think I nailed that name too. Yes. But there was a certain point in the game when Jack McBain and Michael Kesselring both were getting into it at the same time. Super cool to watch. Again, not to say fighting is cool, but hockey fights are cool. Let's just say that. So I thought that was an interesting moment. The last nominee, though, I think is Liam O'Brien's fight against the Los Angeles Kings, which was the first game, I guess. It was the preseason game against the Kings. Energy was crazy off the bat. Like, the Delta Center was bussin'. It was buzzing, as Liam O'Brien would put it. And if you remember how that went, and look, there's a fight going on right behind me on the hockey video game. Isn't that fun? Good timing. But you remember that, the Utah Hockey Club had just scored a goal on a power play. And then immediately as they lined up for the face-off after that, Liam O'Brien took the gloves off and did his thing. And let's relive that right here. Let's just relive this here. We'll go to the second screen right here. Again, this is right after Utah Hockey Club's first goal. Gloves come off. O'Brien's there. I think it was Malloy from the Kings right here. Throwing blows. I think you could maybe argue that O'Brien didn't win this fight. He's the first one down. But still, the energy was buzzing. The place was going crazy. Again, they had just scored their first goal. And again, I wish the broadcast had showed this. I talked about this in the game. O'Brien does a lap around the rink. The place is going absolutely bonkers. He's getting people going. He's the ultimate hype man of this team. He skates towards the corner where Ryan Smith is sitting, and he gives him daps through the glass. That was a great moment. And for that, I am awarding the best fight of the year so far award to Mr. Spicy Tuna, Liam O'Brien. There you go, Spicy Tuna. That one's going on the mantle. There you go. Happy for you, Mr. O'Brien. Great job on that. Let's move on to our next award. Again, 1 month into the year. We're going to go with best moment. I think what to me has been the best moment on the ice. Lots of good nominees. I'm going to put that as one of the nominees. The power play goal and the fight against the Kings. Being there in person in the Delta Center was crazy. I think that's a moment I will never forget. So I'm gonna put that as a nominee. I think you could also put Dylan Gunther's goal against the Blackhawks, the first ever regular season goal, in there as well. However, the third nominee, I think, was for me, like, the ultimate craziness, the ultimate, like, this is real. Is this scripted? Holy moly, I can't believe that we have this unbelievable hockey product here. And that nominee is Michael Kesselring's goal over the Boston Bruins to win on October 19th. All right, so let's relive that. Why don't we? Let's relive that. Here's the replay here. I'll just pipe in a little bit of sound here. We'll get it going. This is overtime. You guys hear it? There we go. No sound, hey, but that's okay. But here, overtime goal. If you zoom in real close, you can see it. Kesselring beats, it wasn't Jeremy Swayman, was it? But anyway, he finds the back of the net. It was a magical night. And it was just so much fun. People were saying the Delta Center was going crazy. I was not in the building for that one. But still, that to me was like such a magical nightcap on a wonderful evening to beat an original six team like the Bruins in such dramatic fashion. That to me is the moment where it's like, okay, this is going to work. This team has something special that people are going to be really excited about. So I would like to award the best moment award to Michael Kesselring for his goal against the Chicago Blackhawks. There you go. Great job, Michael Kesselring. There you go. Kess game-winning goal. That's what it says there. All right, cool. Moving on to our next award, the scrappiest player on the team. Ooh, this is a good one. I think there's a lot of good candidates here. I'm going to put Liam O'Brien in this group as a nominee because while he's not activated often, I think when he is, to say he's scrappy would be an understatement. I think he brings a lot of tenacity, a lot of physical presence, some toughness. It's a pretty safe bet that when he's activated in a game, he's going to be looking to fight. And I think that's his job. He knows it, and he's good at it. And for that, he's earned a nomination for the Scrappiest Player Award. I think we could also nominate Logan Cooley in this category because I really like watching Cooley play. I think he brings a lot of energy. I think he's a 200-foot player. He forechecks, he backchecks. He uses his speed all over the ice. It was fun to see him finally break through and score his first goal after a few games. I think it took him until his 5th or 6th game to finally find the back of the net. But when he did, he was excited. And I think that kind of energy is contagious. And I think he is a very scrappy player. But when it comes to scrappiest dude, I'm going to give it to Alex Kerfoot. Alex Kerfoot's the last nominee. And I have really loved watching Kerfoot play this year. I think he brings a lot of spunk. I think he's a guy who makes an impact every time he's on the ice. He's gets involved with plays all the time. And just as a highlight, here's his assist on a goal by Clayton Keller. Great forecheck, makes a slick little move to gather the puck, puts it behind his back. Look at that. Rounds it up, slides it over to Keller for the goal. Great job, Alex Kerfoot. I love it. And that's such a great hockey name too, Kerfoot. Alex Kerfoot. And I recently learned I think he went to Harvard. Isn't that crazy? So he's smart too. He's scrappy and he's smart. We should just call it the Austin Facer Award because he's scrappy and smart. That's making my sister roll her eyes right now. So great job. There you go, Alex Kerfoot. You have earned this 50-cent plastic trophy. Way to go. Way to go. Moving on to our 4th award, the biggest surprise of the year. Other than the surprise we all got a few months ago when we learned we were getting an NHL team, I think this season has been full of surprises, full of very pleasant surprises. I think you could make an argument that our first nominee fits the bill. I'm going to give a nomination to Dylan Guenther, who with 12 points has been a force to be reckoned with to start the year. 7 goals, 5 assists. Some very electric goals. I think he had 5 goals in his first 3 games or something like that. He's shown that he's an elite shooter. I think that's been really refreshing and cool to see. I mean, he's still very young in his career. I mean, last year he only played in, I believe, like 11 games or so. Fact check me on that, but still relatively new to the league and is finding a place for himself. And I think that's been a lot of fun to watch. He signed a $56 million contract with the team shortly into the season as well. So he's going to be the face of this franchise for quite a few years. So I think he's been a fun surprise. I'm going to give another nomination to a previous winner, someone who has already won a trophy. Michael Kesselring is going to be one of the biggest surprises because I think he brings a lot to this team. I think he's had one of the hardest shots in the NHL. He fired off a slapper that went 104 miles per hour, and he scored a game-winning goal against the Bruins. And I think I've seen a lot of good skating and toughness out of him. And his team has really needed him to step up, especially in the absence of Dursey and John Marino. So I'm going to give him a very happy surprise nomination. The other big surprise, though, and this is going to be our winner, is going to be the team's turnaround when it comes to face-offs. This was something that I learned when I was learning about the Coyotes last year. They were horrific on Facebook. They were on Facebook. Yeah, their social media wasn't great either. But on face-offs, they might have been even worse. I think they were 31st in the National Hockey League in terms of face-off win percentage. This year, they've turned it around in a big way. They're 3rd right now, according to StatMuse, in percentage, trailing just slightly behind the Islanders and the Maple Leafs. Right now, they're winning face-offs at a 54.9 percentage rate. Hey, the 54.9 is a lot better than how I did on some of my algebra tests in 12th grade. I would have been thrilled to get 55% on some of those tests in Mr. Cook's class. I can't remember his name. I think it's Cook. But anyway, he was hard. He was hard on me too, and I deserved it, to be honest. 55% though on face-offs, that's a huge turnaround. to go from second worst to third best. There you go. Here's the trophy right here. Biggest surprise. We're going to give it to the face-off boys. There you go. Congratulations, fellas, on that one. Way to go. Very proud of you. Again, I'm sure this trophy means everything to you because it really should. Here's a fun award that I'm going to give out, okay? Best social video. And before I get into this, let me just say this. I've been watching the Fresh Ice documentary on Seg Media, which is basically like a Hard Knock style behind the scenes look at the Utah Hockey Club's first season. You know, it's made by the team. It's very like well manicured and stuff, but it shows a really nice inside look. And I'll say this, the third episode, and they've just kind of been building, right? So the first episode is like announcing the team, the welcome party at the Delta Center. I did a vlog on that, by the way, go and check it out. The second episode is like the draft where they select Tij Ginla, Cole Baudouin, all that stuff. Third episode is like rookie training camp, the rookie challenge, first little scrimmage, so to speak, at the Delta Center. The production on that is super good. Like they have these like camera angles during the rookie training camp that is like pretty incredible. Like stylistically, it's one of the best looking hockey videos I've ever seen. And if you follow the show, you know I've been obsessed with just any sort of hockey related media, movies, even minor league hockey championship, commemorative VHS tapes, like the one I had for the Utah Grizzlies victory. But that's a good stuff. Go check out Fresh Ice if you haven't yet. Episode 3 is a slick looking one. But I have some nominees for best social video here. Okay, my first nominee was Tij Ginla behind the scenes at the NHL draft, showing Marshawn Lynch how to fight. And I thought that was a lot of fun. If you know me, you know I've been like a big Seahawks fan for a big part of my life. Huge Marshawn Lynch guy. So to see him and Tij Ginla, roughhousing a little bit, I thought was a lot of fun. Marshawn Lynch is like social media gold anyway. Any video with him, is going to be good. So that was a fun one. Second nominee is going to be the bout between Eli Carcone and Michael Kesselring. And I broke this down on a previous episode. Really like the tenacity here shown by little Eli Carcone. He's Michael Carcone's son here. Really giving Michael Kesselring the business. And you see here the gloves come off. Kesselring does some sort of, I guess, like tiger technique right here. But Carcone really just body shots are kind of interesting. It's an interesting approach to a hockey fight. But I think he really took him to task and really showed Kesselring what's what. So that's a worthy nomination as well. But I am sorry, Eli Carcone. You're cute. You're a good fighter. I'm gonna give this award to someone else who's cute and a good fighter, and his name is Maverick Lamoureux. And this video was something that really tugged on my heartstrings. A big theme that I talk about on the show so much is what a family sport hockey is. I've had my mom on the show. I've had my sister on the show. If my dear dad was still around, he would definitely be on the show for sure. So this was really fun to see Maverick Lamoureux being surprised on his debut by seeing his parents in town in Salt Lake City. So let's revisit that here. I played this in a previous episode, but the sound wasn't working. I think I got it working today. So let's tune in. Oh, of course I didn't get it working here, but here we go. Nope, here. Okay, you'll have to go back and check that out. So this is Maverick Lamoureux. Again, there's the big smile here. He's giving his parents a big hug. They're happy to see each other. It was funny, like earlier in the day, Maverick Lamoureux was talking with the media, and he's like, yeah, I don't know if my parents are going to be able to make it. It's kind of tricky finding a direct flight from Montreal to Salt Lake City. I'm willing to bet Brian Smith arranged a way for Mav Lam's parents to get there. And again, this is a fun video. Go back to watch it. It's on Instagram. Sorry I don't have the sound for you guys. This thing's hard to do. I'm producing this whole thing by myself, by the way. This is a one-man operation. Other than when my sister does my makeup, this is me all by myself. But go back and watch this video. It's really cool to see. Mav Lam, he's got a great smile. My cousin has a big crush on him, so I can see why. This is a fun one. And for that, Mav Lam, I am going to give you this trophy. You are the recipient of the Best Video Award, going to Maverick Lamoureux and his parents. Congratulations, Mav Lam. You and your parents are going to treasure that as much as anything I would like to think that if this ever finds its way to Maverick Lamoureux, this little trophy is going to go on his mantle right next to the puck from his first goal. I think it's equally meaningful. So there you go. Happy to do that. Our last award, 1 month in. This is the big one. This is me calling my shot right here. Okay, we're gonna go with Team MVP. 1 month into the Utah Hockey Club's inaugural season. All right, so 3 nominees here. I think there are many worthy recipients, but I think these are probably the 3 most deserving nominees. At least only one can win, though. So this is not a reflection on any sort of shortcomings from any of the other nominees. I think one of these guys just stands out more than the others. All right, and you guys this is totally open to debate too. Throw your comments in the YouTube comment section area place. Let me know who you think your team MVP has been. Would love to check in on that. My first nominee is going to be Dylan Guenther. And as I said, he's been electric to start the year. 7 goals, leads the team, 5 assists as well for 12 points. Excellent start to the season for Dylan Guenther, who is going to be a household name here in Utah for years to come. My second, and I'm going to do this in a different order, and you're not going to know who the winner is, right? And the second nominee is going to be Mikhail Sergachev, who has also been off to a terrific season. He's the headlining acquisition for the Utah Hockey Club, acquired from the Tampa Bay Lightning. 2 goals, 8 assists, 10 points, is leading the team in ice time by a very considerable margin. I think he has more than 80 minutes more on the ice than the next closest, who is actually Ian Cole, actually. But I think he's also among the league leaders in average time on ice per game. I think he's like 4th or 5th, and is skating more than 25 minutes per game. Is interesting to listen to Dominic Moore talk on one of the more recent broadcasts. He's like, defensemen, I think you're looking at about an average of 18 minutes per game. So Mikhail Sergachev playing, almost 10 minutes more than that, and probably 10 more shifts more than that. It just shows the workload, what he's been expected to do for this team, especially in Durzi's absence, in Marino's absence. He's been carrying that defensive unit. The third nominee, though, is the captain, Clayton Keller, who has also been off to a terrific start to the season. He leads the team in points, 6 goals, 7 assists, 13 total points. The captain of the team. He's the heart and soul of what the organization wants to do, wants to be. I thought it was an excellent choice to make him the captain. And I'll say this, I really liked his his media appearance after he was named the captain, where he's like, not very many people get to see their dreams come true, and I feel really lucky. And I heard that, and I'm like, I feel the same way. I feel like my dreams are coming true too. I'm doing this goofy ass little podcast that people seem to like for some reason. I'm living the dream for sure. I can totally relate to that. So he is a worthy recipient. Keller, Guenther, Sergachev, the winner of the first ever 1 month into the season awards from SLC Puck, team MVP as of now, Mikhail Sergachev. There you go. I just think his impact has been incredibly important. I think in the absence of John Marino and Sean Durzi, he's been asked to take on a tremendous workload. He was already going to have a lot asked out of him, and he's had a lot more to do to carry this team. I think right now the team's sitting at 6-6-3. It has to do a lot with his contributions. I think the team's record would look a lot different if he wasn't playing as well as he has been. I think he's the team MVP as it stands right now. So I'd like to give that to him, and as a final award, as a bonus to all of you. And thanks for tuning in, by the way. I know this is kind of starting to be one of the longer episodes. Best podcast fans. I'm trying to think who would be the nominees. Would it be the Andrew Huberman podcast listeners? Would it be the Caller Daddy podcast listeners? Or would it be the SLC Puck listeners? I think the judges have spoken, and we're going to give the award for best podcast listeners to the SLC Puck audience. There you go, guys. Thank you so much for everything you do. You earned it. This is for you, guys. Way to go. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, let's call it an episode here. Episode 56 in the books, on its way to the Library of Congress. Big news. I got big news before I check out here. we're working on booking a big guest here to come to SLC Puck, be on an episode here in the next little bit. Stay tuned for that. I'm actually not kidding about that. We're going to have a very big guest soon. I am psyched for this. I hope you guys enjoyed the women's hockey game last Friday. I did not make it because I got a date with someone who was way out of my leagues, and she was not interested in going to a hockey game, so the decision was made. But I heard it was a good time, so, love to see that. Love to see the growth of sport. And I love to see the growth of this podcast, too. You guys are making this fun. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, slcpuck.shop, ksl.com, all that good stuff. And we'll talk soon. Thanks, guys. Carolina coming up on Wednesday, 10-3. It's going to be a tough one. We'll talk soon.